Made man here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man. So I was up late last night and I was coming in the house half twisted or whatever, man, and decided to listen to some boxing talk last night, right? Just so happened to catch Dante's Boxing Nation last night. Welcome back to Dante's Boxing Nation. And it turns out I caught it in really at a good time, man, because I came in the midst of Kenny Porter getting into it with another fellow YouTuber. And I was listening to some of the points that were being made from Kenny Porter. And though I do want to see Errol Spence Jr., ladies and gentlemen, fight every top dog at welterweight, do I believe that Errol Spence Jr. is avoided in a sense? I say somewhat yes. But y'all got to understand something, man. Everybody puts a lot of the blames on the other fighters, which they do share some blame. Don't get me wrong. But however, we also got to put some blame at the foot of Errol Spence Jr. also. Let's keep it all the way a buck. I mean, Errol Spence Jr. chose the slow route. I've already went through this 1,000 times. He chose the slow route. Everyone's like, why this fight ain't fighting? Why that fight ain't fighting? And I'm one of the ones that say, yeah, I want to see these guys fight, Spence, no question. But at the end of the day, Spence made decisions in his career that made these fights tougher to make. And that's the thing that the people don't never talk about. Let's keep it real. Errol Spence Jr. fights in the IBF. I don't see no IBF fighters outside of Konstantin Ponomarev ducking him. I heard Ugaz wanted to fight him. Devin Alexander stated if he would have beat Andre Berto, he would have fought him. You know what I mean? There are fighters that were within the sanctioning body that Errol Spence Jr. fights in that was willing to fight them. The problem is none of the elite fighters are in the IBF. And that is something that Errol Spence Jr. chose. He was rated in the WBC at once upon a time, and he chose to leave the WBC. Well, guess what? Keith one-time Thurman was a unified champion, right? When he became a unified champion, he went on his little hiatus. He wanted to spend time with his wife, his family, his kids, and become one with the moon, the stars, the fishes, and everything else. That's his decision. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he vacated his belt. Even in Showtime Sean Porter's case, when he was the IBF champion, he fought Kell Brook and he lost his title. When Danny Garcia was the WBC champion, he chose to try to get into a unification with Keith Thurman. So these fighters were operating within the WBC, WBA realm. And Errol Spence Jr., since he's a champion in the IBF, cannot be ranked in these other sanctioning bodies. That was his decision. Was it a bad decision? That's not for me to call. He chose to go and face Kell Brook and get the title. So guess what? Sean Porter does not like the IBF because of the way he was treated after the Kell Brook fight. I listened to Kenny Porter. He stated that, if we face Errol Spence Jr., he can basically keep that IBF strap. We don't got to fight for the strap. This fight is now bigger than the belt, which I agree. And that's a good position to take because that lets me know that you're willing to go an extra mile to maybe try to make the fight. But I can't be putting all the blame at the other fighters all the time, man. Errol Spence Jr. got to take some stuff for himself. You know what I mean? What if the dude would have stayed in the WBC? Then he would have fought. He would have been in the mix. What if he would have remained in the WBA? He would have been in the mix. These are the things that people don't like to talk about, man. I hate one-sided arguments, Joe. You know what I mean? So let's not act like, Errol Spence Jr. did not take the slow route. And now it's just starting to come to fruition. Because guess what? At the end of the day, these dudes value the WBC, man. That is the green belt. And you see Danny Garcia and Showtime Sean Porter fighting for the WBC. Now, if Keith Thurman comes back, I'm hoping Keith now falls back. Everybody like, oh, Keith is doing this and he's doing that. Keith already put his work in. So Keith need to fall back. Let these dudes chop it up, and whoever's the last man standing emerges to face Keith Thurman. That's just the proper order of things. And this order of things was not nothing that was just made up. This was the route that Errol Spence Jr. chose. You get me? So, even when people say, well, he fought Carlos Ocampo, which I'm like, yo, man, he could have did better, but that's a mandatory fight. Nothing he can do about that because he chose the IBF. The reason they're talking Mikey Garcia, because the other fighters are in other sanctioning bodies that Errol Spence Jr. chose not to be in. Oh, man, tell it all the way true. So, I mean, eventually, once them dudes finish doing what they doing in the WBC, then maybe they'll look to pivot to the IBF. But the IBF is not high on nobody's radar. The only radar that it was high on was Errol Spence's. I'm being real. So, are they avoiding them one way or another? Sure they are. But they are not going to jump over mountains, over lakes, over rivers. They're not going to do all of this stuff to go fight in the IBF. That's just the thing that nobody talking about. You know what I mean? So that's something that Errol Spence Jr. chose. He did not have to go that route. You know, we all know the story. The WBC had him ranked very high. They ordered him to face Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley wanted nothing to do with Errol Spence. Well, Timothy Bradley and Errol Spence were rated in the top 5 of the WBC. They got elevated to the top 5. And so if Timothy Bradley would have stepped out the way, the next good name would have had to face Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. would have been fought for that WBC title probably by now. Well, actually, he would have been just getting that fight, what, last fight or two ago? It would have been just coming around to him right about now. And we would have gotten the fight by now. We wouldn't be online yelling and screaming at Kenny Porter. You know what I mean? We wouldn't be online going at each other. Oh, this guy's ducking this guy. We wouldn't be doing that if Errol Spence Jr. would have just kept his ass in the WBC. Now, would he? Now, look, he's in the IBF. Yeah, he's a world champion. And he's a dynamic fighter. But at the end of the day now, the competition in the IBF is laughable. You know what I'm saying? Ugar's probably the best name there. Everybody else is just like, yo, that's an international belt. You got to understand, that's the IBF International Boxing Federation. Everyone knows that the IBF was always around the waist of some foreign fighter. That's always how it's been. And then y'all won't wonder why the American fighters are not overly jumping into the ring with Errol Spence Jr. because he's the IBF champion. That could be a lame excuse. I know people can probably be like, oh, man, that's kind of lame right there, man. I don't know, bruh. But, yo, that's the facts. That's exactly what happened. So, yeah, do I put some blame at the other fighters for avoiding Errol Spence? They do share blame, but so does Errol Spence Jr. He chose this route. Errol Spence Jr. is paid today. He got a fat bag off his, the Peterson fight or one of them fights? Yeah, I think it was the Peterson. He got a fat bag off that. And Earl been chilling ever since. Laying low. Just talking to Al. Al got me. You know what I mean? But if he's going to take the Al got me route, that's the slow route, ladies and gentlemen. So while y'all out here yelling and screaming, keep in mind, you could place some blame at the other fighters, but also you got to remember Errol Spence Jr. chose this route. And since he chose this route, the Errol Spence Jr. fans got to have some patience. And that's keeping it 100. So to the next video, Main Man Made Man. Don't forget to subscribe to Twitter, Made Man 511, Facebook, Main Man Made Man Boxing Forum, Google Plus, Main Man Made Man. I don't condone ducking in any shape, form, or fashion. Y'all know that. But at the end of the day, what the hell can happen? You know what I mean? If there's peoples want the WBC and the WBA, Keith Thurman is the bigger name. They wanted Keith Thurman first. WBC is the most prestige belt. They wanted that belt first. These are the routes that Errol Spence Jr. chose not to go. So there's enough blame to go around. To the next video. Peace out.